This is the hour of the day where Stugotz is most prone to being starstruck. First Take has ended. All the incoming talent from High Noon is there, and it's just a mass of humanity sort of packed into a bullpen at the Seaport Studios, all of which have some level of fame, and Stugotz is already super distracted by it.
I mean, the noon hour, Dano, here is unbelievable. It's better than Radio Row at Super Bowl. It really is. I mean, the noon hour every single day. Because what you have is Stephen A. and Max and Molly coming out of First Take. Will Kane is starting to show up. I mean, Bomani and Pablo are here. You got the Around the Horn crew. Reality starts walking in and yelling like Christopher Mad Dog Russo. Greedy's been gone for 2 hours already. I mean, it is all happening in the noon hour. It's amazing. You should see it, Dan. In fact, I'm guessing it's the last place you want to see. Yeah, I do. Anyone who's on TV? Anybody? Anyone else? Where's Max? There he is. All right, we can stop Fanny back.
I'm in the middle of things, Dan. I'm in the middle of things.
Yeah, here. You got to say it right here.
I have boxing interviews to do right now in like 5 minutes. Stop.
Okay, thank you for stopping by, Max. We appreciate it.
I'm sorry. I have to go now.
You can pan back now.
Live from ESPN Studios in South Beach. It's the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz.
They did not do a very good job with whatever that preparation was. And Stugotz is making it even more difficult because lest you think that it is a joke, what it is that our tension every day feels like. 2 minutes ago, Mike, I'm not making this up. 2 minutes ago, by way of greeting, right? He walks in smelling like he smells in the morning with breath, smelling like chewed up cigarettes. And he is talking so fast at the side of my face. I'm not making this up. This is how it happened. He's like, LeBron did the thing. He did that thing. LeBron did the thing. And I held my hand up against his breath. And it's like you would if you were being attacked by something. Like if something were trying to bite and eat your face. It's how you would hold your hand up, and I'm like,
revenant bear.
Can it wait 2 minutes? It felt more like cigar and cigarette chewing piranha, like a lot of them, a school of them.
Right, totally fair. I mean, we have 3 hours here. I'm certain we'll get to the thing that LeBron did last night in that Nuggets game. I'm sorry.
I don't feel like you're sorry though, because it was so loud and so aggressive, and it was hello. And put it on the poll, Guillermo, at Le Batard Show. Is Stugotz's hello always a loud and aggressive sports take?
I don't even know what the thing is LeBron did.
You don't know what the thing is?
He's dying to tell us.
Consider my interest peaked.
Okay, we'll get to it. We will get to it.
In his defense, we are in the content business, and he walks in talking about something that could be content.
I know, but he does the thing about the thing every time LeBron has a game.
I mean, I love when he does the thing.
Oh, wait. I think I know what he did.
It's the same thing always. It's not a surprise.
The thing, yeah.
The reminding thing?
Well, he did that, but there was another thing that he did. Yeah.
The trip to Miami thing?
No. The thing he does at the end of the game.
The hiding scared from China to sell sneakers?
No, the thing he does at the end of important games that he, when he feels
post up JJ Barea?
When he feels like he needs to make a statement. Yeah, the thing.
The reminding thing.
Well, they did the reminding thing as a team last night. He certainly did it as an individual, but he did the thing at the end of the game. The thing that he does at the end of the game that he might not do during the course of the game, but he saves it for the very end of the game.
Took off his headband with a clump of fake hair?
Hid in the bushes from China. What is the thing?
Reminding people.
What came out against freedom of expression?
He had not guarded Jokic basically the entire night.
final 2 minutes in what felt like a playoff game and a statement game. It was certainly the best game of the regular season. I stayed up late watching it. That's how good the game was last night. He did the thing. I got Jokic. And Jokic did nothing, and I felt terrible for Jokic because LeBron was doing the thing to Jokic.
Did Jokic do the thing where his arms are bleeding?
Jokic has the ugliest game I've ever seen. It's amazing this guy's an MVP candidate. It really is. And when LeBron wanted to shut him down in crunch time, LeBron shut him down. Jokic can get you to the end of the game. Jamal Murray needs to be the guy finishing the game for the Nuggets. That's all I'm going to say.
So the thing that LeBron did was play defense.
Yeah, but he took their best player, who is 7 feet tall, and he made him go away. And he was having a great game right till then, and then LeBron guarded him one-on-one. LeBron is 6'8". Jokic is 7'1". He made him go away.
Just so that you know, though, before you disparage Jokic totally, I believe numerically, I think I've got the data right on this, there has been no better late-game player, as you say, that Jamal Murray should be ending their games. Like, in terms of hitting game winners and doing things in the last 2 minutes, like Jokic has done a good amount of that.
That's when LeBron's not out there doing the thing, you know? I mean, Dan, he can guard the other team's best player whenever he wants and shuts him down. He did it to Derrick Rose when Derrick Rose was an MVP.
I mean, that's why he's the best player ever. That's why.
He did the thing. I haven't seen the thing in a while because he hasn't been relevant. His teams haven't been good in a while. He took a year off last year, and last night I saw the thing.
He got hurt last year.
But can he do it for an entire game? Because he just showed it to you late.
Doesn't have to.
Anthony Davis could do it for the rest of the game. That's why they got him, to be the fountain of youth for him. So now it's the greatest way to age. Man, look, those people have been smart about how they've managed his career. They got him a fountain of youth. They got him in Anthony Davis, a guy who can carry all the heavy stuff so that LeBron can summit. We've talked about this
But just
before.
be careful when you're carrying those things, Anthony. We don't want you to hurt anything.
Well, he carried him last night and did not get hurt because he hit 2 monster threes in the overtime, in the extra session, and Davis was great last night. He really was.
He is any 90s out there. Like
Yep.
he doesn't have a whole lot of bad games. Like, that guy's an amazing basketball player. And the way that LeBron's career has been crafted, right? Because we've talked about this with Tom Brady and others. It's why Shaquille O'Neal used to call himself the big Aristotle, because he made the quote, or he would repeat and echo the quote, "You are what you consistently do." And as you age, it becomes harder and harder to bring it consistently. It can still be brought in flashes. It's why we could watch Tom Brady and say, be careful about doubting him. Be careful, I care about you, because he can show it to you in flashes. The old guys can get up to 50 and show it to you in flashes. My guess is that Jordan might be able to actually still be able to show it to you in flashes.
For sure. No doubt.
I agree.
Yeah.
But LeBron James is only going to be needed to do it occasionally, and it's going to be cool to watch whatever the end of his career looks like there, because they got him exactly the kind of help that you have to get him to help a guy like that age. I mean, Belichick did the same thing with Gronk, right? He did the same thing for Tom Brady with Gronk, extended his career by years by finding in the second round. And if Aaron Hernandez hadn't done all the Aaron Hernandez things, like, they would have had Gronk and Aaron Hernandez running around out there, allowing him to age even more gracefully than he has, and he's aged better than any quarterback ever.
Yeah. It was just amazing last night. It was such a big game. It really felt like a playoff game, and it felt like LeBron wanted to just tell the Nuggets, hey, we're better than you, and I'm better than him, and I can stop him whenever I feel like stopping him, just so you know.
Yeah, that's the thing, Stugotz. That's the thing that you like to come in here
I
and
love
say
the
that
thing.
LeBron did.
Oh.
I know. I'm aware of that. I still have your breath.
I get goosebumps.
I have your breath on the side of my face. And it's not goosebumps what's on the side of my face. It's the lumps and the acidic warts on the back of the neck of the people who are dying in The Outsider is what's on the side of my face. Like bubbling, awful, festering wounds when you come in here breathing your things.
And look.
What was that?
Content.
But I didn't get to the thing I wanted to get to.
But segment 1 in the book.
But
You're welcome.
I didn't get to the important societal thing.
Yeah, but
Tease it.
Tease it.
And I got to the thing.
Build up TSL.
Yeah, radio.
Do the radio thing.
Yeah.
Now I want to know what Dan's going to do.
Boom, there it is. Right?
Oh, what is it?
Checked off a segment.
Yeah.
Now we got Dan's thing.
Yeah.
I love Dan.
Unless it's an important societal thing, because I'm good.
11 segments to go. Let's go.
Is it a big societal thing?
One big thing. Oh, you're one big thing.
Whoa.
Oh, wow.
Is it a big thing?
One fat thing, yeah. What?
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance.
Let's do that. Let's create the imaging right now during the break for one fat thing. I'm going to give it to you next.
Pick from a range of coverage options with the Name Your Price tool to find a price that works for you. Golic and Wingo will be live this Friday from Chicago for the NBA All-Star Game, brought to you by Marathon. No matter where your travels take you, Marathon can improve your engine performance with quality, top-tier gasoline. Marathon, fueling the American spirit. Here's your SportsCenter update. Blues defenseman Jay Bouwmeester is, quote, doing very well, according to general manager Doug Armstrong. Bouwmeester suffered a cardiac episode in the Blues-Ducks game. Damian Lillard is out for the NBA All-Star Game after suffering a right groin strain. That stinks. Vivid Seats, the top ticket source for the live events you crave, now is a loyalty program that allows fans to earn credit back. That's a loyalty program, and it allows you, fans, to earn credit back. Go to the App Store or Google Play, download the Vivid Seats app, and enter promo code ESPN25 for 10% off your next order. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
It is Dan and Stu from the Clevelander in South Beach on ESPN Radio.
Download the Vivid Seats app and enter promo code ESPN25 at checkout to get 10% off your next order. Don't buy just any seat. Get a Vivid seat.
I'm honestly surprised to see Mike Ryan being petty, like publicly petty in a way that is not becoming. It's a bad look for him on Jeremy Roenick. Jeremy Roenick has been fired by NBC. I don't know if you saw this, Stugotz. Did you see this? This is not my one big thing, by the way.
It's not. Okay.
No, but Jeremy Roenick did. Jeremy Roenick did the thing where the caveman athletic guy thing of being jocular in a public setting and not realizing that the world has evolved. And sometimes, I mean, Marcus Morris did this the other day where he was talking about Jay Crowder being, girl-like or very feminine, very soft. Jeremy Roenick made threesome jokes about a colleague, and I'm probably overstating it when I say that Mike Ryan is petty, but I always feel bad for these guys when they get fired or they step in it or one misstep makes you lose a career, even if they're wrong enough to make it a fireable offense. And because Mike Ryan had a bad experience with Jeremy Roenick damn near 10 years ago, he does not have pity for Jeremy Roenick. I shouldn't say that he's petty.
The tweets are out there. Jeremy Roenick, when we first went national, was supposed to join us on the show, was a friend of the show, and he was late for a hit. Man, I tried tracking him down. He just wasn't answering. It was very clear that he was on the golf course having a good time, and I was like, hey, man, don't worry about it. We'll just catch you another time.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Is Jeremy Roenick always on the golf course having a good time?
Let's not put that on the poll. Let's not put that on the poll. But we're here now, and Jeremy Roenick took such offense to this. It was like really bizarre behavior, and it honestly had me thinking, like, what's going on there, really? Jeremy Roenick called, like, my bosses at 790 The Ticket trying to get me fired for 2 straight days, like day and night. And the tweets are out there. Like, he just simply wouldn't stop. And at some point, I was just like, you know what? Like, something's very clearly not all there here. So whatever. But I don't have anything good to say about him. My personal experience was terrible.
Isn't that part of the appeal of Jeremy Roenick? Not the terrible stuff, just that you never know what he's going to do. You never know what he's going to say. That's part of the reason he's put on television for a long time. And when you say something's off there, hockey happened to him. Like he's a guy who had who was infected with that culture of I broke my jaw, it's wired shut. The doctor has told me don't take out the wires. Originally, the doctor told me it would only be 40 days. I'm taking the wires out myself with pliers.
Yeah, but a lot of people play hockey and aren't like Jeremy Roenick.
But a lot of people play hockey and are like Jeremy Roenick.
But Mike is saying there is an ability to play hockey and not act the way Jeremy Roenick acts. I mean,
Well, he used to be a good friend of the show. Used to tell us stories about him drinking out of a dress shoe. But I don't know, something happened there, and it was one of the more bizarre.
Couldn't it be
moments
drinking
my
out of a
career.
dress shoe happened there?
Yeah, I mean,
We-
who
have
hasn't?
we?
Who hasn't? But it was honestly the most bizarre.
Put it on the
interaction I've
poll,
ever had.
Guillermo. Have you ever had an alcoholic beverage out of a dress shoe? At Le Batard Show. Do you guys have the wonderful imaging here for one big thing? I don't know if I have time now for one big thing. But all right, let's do it.
One bad thing.
All right, good to see how hard you guys worked on that during the break.
You're welcome.
in a pinch, Dan.
The thing that was done by LeBron James's friend Dwayne Wade yesterday, Gabrielle Union, the power of this power couple leading the way on pioneering stuff that can be difficult. Now, I understand if you're listening to this and you're just running away from this entire conversation. You're saying, look, Le Batard, you're too liberal. I don't want a 12-year-old telling me when he or she is a girl. I want science to tell me. I don't want a 12-year-old deciding what the rules are on gender bending. And you may be calling Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade and Zaya Wade, you may be calling them cruel names. What I would simply tell you is that I am not here to judge someone else on that front. I am not here to have that argument with you. I was just palpably moved by the way that Dwayne Wade was the father he never had. Dwayne Wade, who has written books about fatherhood. Dwayne Wade, who has grown into a man on Miami's watch, going from a baby-faced kid who was taking out loans for diapers while at Marquette, to a legend who will be celebrated this month by the team and ESPN in documentary form. That he would be a leader on this when so many people in the trans community have trouble with suicide. It's a disproportionate rate. That he would support his child in a loving way that would make his child not hide, that would make his child brave, that would give his child strength and support. It is what parenting is at its best. It is not for Dwayne Wade to understand that. I'm sure if you're looking at this and saying, what do you mean? What do you mean a 12-year-old boy is a girl? I'm guessing Dwayne had some of the same thoughts. Like, that's not something anyone thinks is going to happen. That's not something that anyone has an understanding of until it becomes your child. To meet that child with that kind of love is a strength that I'm not sure all of us are capable of. I'd like to think so. I'm the best version of myself. I'd like to think, no, that wouldn't be a problem. I would just love and I would just support. But what the hell would you do if your 12-year-old comes to you after, 12 years of watching that, as Dwayne says, he was on the girl vibe. He wasn't on the boy vibe. What do you do if your child comes to you? Some of you have to be asking yourself this question. And for Dwayne Wade to put this out in public and be a leader on it gives so many other people strength and permission. Now, you might not want it normalized. I understand if you're confused by it, and I understand if it's something that is what many of us are just simply ignorant about. And I understand if your ignorance hardens into fear, and that ignorance and that fear combine to create disgust or revulsion or make you call names of the Wade family. I'm just marveling at the parents these people are, because they're this publicly supportive on something that can be difficult even in private, that they have decided to be leaders on this. Because originally what was happening with Zaya is they were doing pride things around Miami, and at 12 years old, I'm still not certain that kids know what sexuality is at 12 years old, that it's so early in your forming process. They were out in front on being there with Zaya when he was Zion, And now it moves into something else where Zion wants to be treated and seen as Zaya. And what an overwhelming strength that girl has been given by her parents, who couldn't have expected any of this and got themselves knowledgeable because the love of a child forced them to put down whatever ignorance was there, whatever fear was there. And now you've got Gabrielle Union saying, we will not live by fear. What an amazing thing. As you see the numbers, they're horrifying, horrifying. How many kids have to hide in the shadows with this secret because no one's there to support them? And too often, parents are trying to beat the gay out of them or beat the weird out of them or pray the gay and the weird out of them. This dude, man, like as Kobe Bryant passes away, and we didn't get to say some of the things to him about being a hero while he was alive because time was too short. His peer, his colleague, his friend, his damn near his all-star equal, Dwayne Wade, is out here still fighting a fight that is meaningful, that uses the power and the platform that sports gives you in order to strengthen and embolden others, and is more important in retirement than anything Dwayne Wade did in his Hall of Fame career.
Time to justify our unreasonable salaries.
Man, you must have been a good writer back in the day. Seriously.
Wow, that's one fat thing.
Stuck the landing, all of it, man.
It's a dangerous world out there. That's why you need to protect your home by installing Blink cameras in and around your home. Tell them more, Gotts.
Yep, where do you need a Blink security camera? On your porch to help protect deliveries? Perhaps helping keep your family safe when you travel. That's important. Alerting you when the kids get home from school, of course. Blink cameras are motion activated. When they detect something, they send an alert and a video clip to your Blink smartphone app. And the Blink XD2 features two-way talk. System start at just $79.99. So where do you need Blink cameras? Visit blinkprotect.com/Dan. Do it today. blinkprotect.com/Dan.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Wow.
On the subject of Dwayne Wade, because I want you guys to notice in the grief and the emotion of the last month, where many of you connected with the death of Kobe Bryant, specifically because at the end his daughter was with her and he could do nothing to protect her. Think about that when I tell you, look at what Dwayne Wade is protecting his daughter from. It's a suicide rate that is abnormally high because of the shame and the pain and hiding involved in not being able to be your true self, where too many in the transgender community think it is a solution to the pain to end it by killing themselves. Think about that. When you make the connection points with Kobe Bryant and his daughter and the end of their life, make the connection points here, because that's what Dwayne Wade is doing by not clinging to his ignorance. He's improving the chances that his child can get through life in a way that is strong and brave and herself, and not a way that is scared, hidden, and feels like a lie that has to be ended too often by suicide because it's that big and bad a secret to have to keep from everyone else. And when you hear Zaya talking, as many of you have, and she shows uncommon wisdom for a 12-year-old, but she's 12 years old.
Right.
She has clearly got the strength of her parents there. Her parents are giving her the support and belief to speak her truth and live her truth in a way that should be moving to you, even if you've got all of these feelings of judgment and disgust and everything else, because it's simply a parent loving and supporting a child, whether they understand that child or not. They are loving and supporting a child in a way that the best parents must.
Unconditionally. I see a lot of people saying, Dan, well said, beautiful. It's easy, though. Okay, you support your kids no matter what. No, I'm sorry. It is not that easy. It might be easy for you, but it is not that easy for all parents when this news is dropped in their laps. It's just not. You might think you'll support your kid, but you have no idea what you would do and how you would react until you're in it.
This is the thing, though, Stugotz.
I don't.
I understand the people who are consumed with whatever it is, fear, disgust, ignorance, whatever. Trying not to judge that. Whatever the things are that consume you, those people, too, must feel silent today, because it's not like you can come to one of these microphones and start ripping Dwayne Wade and his daughter. But plenty of people are doing that with the safety and anonymity of the internet. And it's the very thing Dwayne Wade and his wife, who have lived a very public life, are trying to protect their child from. They're trying to give their child the confidence to walk into the world bravely as herself. But I get if you're confusion. I really do. Like, I'm not here to judge. I wish you wouldn't do it. I wish you would understand that that's their life, and he is trying to parent his child the best way that he knows how, with love and support and belief, and those things don't seem to be things you can criticize. But I get it if you're sitting here so confused by it that the whole thing makes you angry. It challenges what you've believed. I heard Bomani say this on High Noon the other day. The respect that Dwayne Wade is extending his daughter doesn't require understanding. It's just the respect. Like, Dwayne is clearly trying to understand it. Dwayne, it'd be unreasonable for us to assume that Dwayne Wade has to understand it. But what he said on Ellen is, the first thing I did is, let me find out more. Let me inform myself. So whatever my fears are, don't harden my love. Don't turn it into something else. Because too many parents, Stugotz, too many parents. John Amici said this on South Beach Sessions, like how you fail as a parent. When you are expecting your child to live up to whatever your expectations of them are, there's an extraordinary selfishness in wanting your child to be exactly what you and your belief systems are. That's not good parenting. Like, many people think it's good parenting, and I understand the need for discipline, and I understand many of you who are looking at me and saying, you're not a parent. What are you to say what a good parent is? I do know what love looks like, though. And it looks a lot like what Dwayne Wade is extending his daughter and what Gabrielle Union is extending her daughter. I got to get off of this heavy stuff, though. I've lost the room. Do you guys want to talk about that Astros press conference?
Not really.
Much of a press conference.
I'm gonna call my dad, though.
Yeah. Someone to hug.
Can you hit the button before you leave? Thank you.
Ponte los patines. Time for some ads.
You need to value your earbuds, especially if you're prone to losing them. Luckily, the best quality sound at the lowest price comes from Raycon earbuds. Tell them, Stugotz.
Yep, you already know. Raycon earbuds start at about half the price of other premium wireless earbuds on the market, and they sound just as amazing. I know. That's because Raycon sent me their latest model, the E25, the best ones yet. E25s offer you 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design for a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Raycon earbuds are stylish and discreet with no dangling wires or stems. Raycon was co-founded by Ray J and celebrities like Snoop Dogg, J.R. Smith, and me. We are all obsessed with Raycons. I got my pair, E25s. Half the price of the ones I had before and 1,000,000 times better. How about that? Get 15% off your order at buyraycon.com/Dan. Do it today. It's buyraycon.com/Dan.
I love the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
If you missed any of our interviews, check them out on demand in the Dan Le Batard podcast, brought to you by the Capital One Saver Card. Earn 4% cash back on dining and entertainment, 2% at grocery stores, 1% on all other purchases. Capital One, what's in your wallet? All guests on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line.
So the tweets are coming in, and Tony just came in and handed me some of them and said, "Oh, Dan, you got him big mad now." So someone writes in, "Boring. Save this for your podcast, Dan. I'm at work and need something that makes my day a little more pleasant, not more complicated."
You don't get the show.
Somebody else writes in, "Maybe I shouldn't be stunned, but I am stunned at the lack of wall-to-wall coverage of Astros by ESPN on any of their 4 available channels. Instead, a First Take Circus in Chicago, a Get Up on ESPN replay, a college basketball replay, and this useless Le Batard show. Nothing more
You
important
don't get the show.
in sports today than this Astros press conference, that the Astros cheating scandal. It is a difficult thing to navigate with you guys, where you guys have exactly the right temperature for when 1.5 segments is too much to talk about something and half a segment is not enough to talk about something. Like, you guys know exactly the right amount every time to tell us. You've already complained to us that we've spent too much time on the Astros scandal, to which my question is, do you not know what sports radio was 10 years ago? Like, we have spent 1/50th of the time on the Astros scandal that sports radio would have 10 years ago.
Back when I was growing up, I listened to 2 guys talk about a bunt in the 4th inning of Game 72 for 5.5 hours. I mean, that was sports radio.
If you want to make that texter happy, I got about a minute of Bregman and Altuve just droning prepared PR statements.
That's about. Oh yeah, you have them.
Yeah.
It was a minute.
I have some brief remarks that I'd like to share with y'all. I am really sorry about the choices that were made by my team, by the organization, and by me. I've learned from this, and I hope to regain the trust of baseball fans. I would also like to thank the Astros fans for all of their support. We as a team are totally focused on moving forward to the 2020 season. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim, and thank you, Alex. I also will be brief. We had a great team meeting last night, and I want to say that the whole Astros organization and the team feel bad about what happened in 2017. We especially feel remorse for the impact in our fans and the game of baseball. And our team is determined to move forward, to play with intensity, and to bring back a championship to Houston in 2020. Thank you.
After that, Dan, they put Dusty Baker up there and they fed him to the wolves.
If you want, I got a minute of George Springer, too.
All right, no, hold on a second before you get to that, because I've got a minute for Stugotz. I've got a minute for Stugotz because everyone back there saw what just happened, and they know good and well that I am not going to let it go because Stugotz can't stop giving takes. During the press conference sound that he hadn't heard and had no use for, he was just making comments to the back room. And so before coming to the microphone with, right after that, they fed Dusty Baker to the Wolves, what Stugotz said into the shipping container is, and then right after this, they fed Dusty Baker to the Lambs.
Sacrificial lamb is what I meant.
To the Lambs. They fed Dusty Baker to the Lambs. They poor Dusty Baker is out there, and they put this whole thing. How old is Dusty Baker now? He's in his 70s, is he not?
I think 72. I'll check on it.
Being eaten by lambs would probably be worse because it would just take a long time. You know, the wolves, I feel like, are used to this, so they'll do it quick. The lambs would just gnaw at you.
Horrifying.
Yeah.
Horrifying way to go because they're so cute. Yeah. And you'd be like, the entire time they're just softly gnawing on you. It's horrible. Also, bit of a tangent, but if you've ever watched Jurassic Park, isn't it weird that the goat is like eye level?
Yes.
And then like the T-Rex attacks it, and it's like below the Jeep.
Yeah.
But then like the very next scene, it just like comes out, like just steps over, like no big deal. And then it pushes the Jeep down that huge cliff. I'm like, none of this makes any sense.
A bit of a tangent, huh?
Dusty is 70, by the way.
I mean, and they just put him in front of everybody. He didn't have anything to do with anything, and he's the one who's going to talk the most at the cheating scandal press conference.
He had to have had the toothpick in his mouth, though, right? I mean, there's no way he doesn't, right?
This is what it takes for Dusty Baker to get one of the good jobs and get back in the sport. It's got to be this. It is because it is a good job.
Great job.
Dusty Baker's a little overrated. Today's not the day for that, but he's a little overrated. I mean,
Bit of a tangent.
he did a lot of nothing with a lot of good players. I mean, what did he do with the Cubs? What did he do with Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa? I mean, he did a lot of nothing.
I mean, he
What did do
had
with the
Barry
Reds
Bonds.
in
He
the
was
early
in a Game
2000s?
7, and he was failed by his
Yeah.
starting.
How many
Very
rings?
good. Good talk. All right,
Oh,
thank you. I
boy.
appreciate all you do.
Well done, Bill.
Wow.
Good thing Garrett Cole got out of there because he would have run that arm right into the ground.
A tweeter writes in, that is the Dusty Baker reputation. He is a bit of a butcher with your pitching arm.
Imagine that, how they give Garrett Cole like $400 million and he can't even last half a season.
You notice what the Nationals did once Dusty Baker left, right? I mean, you noticed? Rings.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. I appreciate you doubling down
Ring.
on the general.
Well, I was talking about all the guys on the team. Rings, plural.
Oh, okay, yeah. Good save,
Yes,
good save.
and
Kick save.
This was before he got fed to the Lambs. So here is a tweeter writing in. It is easier for the Wades to have courage or anybody when you're wealthy and famous, IMO.
He's that guy.
Man.
What? The number of arguments that you have made over the years about things that are easier when you have fame and power and money. Everything's easier when you have fame and power and money, except maybe like some mental health stuff.
The news about your child, though, is complex and not easy, regardless of your wealth. Okay? It's just not easy.
No, but that's the thing. A lot of people just, Stugotz, you talk about the lifeblood of sports radio. The lifeblood of sports radio is complaining about how much athletes are making. It's complaining about Deion Waiters being bought out and getting $12 million next year and $7 million this year. I do want some more thoughts on Dusty Baker and if he's overrated from Billy, but I'm not sure I want them as much as thoughts randomly from Mike about Jurassic Park for no good reason. Just a change-up.
Transition.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
country covering basketball better than this person is. You can see him on The Jump. You can see him on Twitter. Find him on Twitter at Kevin Arnovitz. He's ESPN NBA writer, Kevin Arnovitz. And before we get into the basketball stuff with Kevin, and thank you for joining us, I wanted to go a little more personal there. Just curious, from afar, as Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union have recently on Ellen and elsewhere come out publicly in support of Zion, who formerly was Zion and now is Zaya, their 12-year-old daughter. What did you make of it from afar?
Dan, it's really interesting. I was just on a panel in Los Angeles Monday night about sort of the plight of LGBT athletes. You know, in some respects, God, have we really made any progress? I mean, Jason Collins retired 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, there have been a couple of coming out stories. And it turned into an argument because I think there was a person on the panel who I respect a great deal who's like, yeah, these leagues haven't changed at all. And I kind of snapped back and said, that's just not true. And you can kind of cite, you know, Dwayne Wade, and this is a top 5 player of his time, is out here on every platform sort of, you know, bringing awareness to this, right? I mean, I talked to NBA coaches who have zero tolerance policies, or at least tell me they do, on the practice court about language that might have been completely acceptable just even a few years ago. You know, it's just not tolerated anymore. You know, I saw the commissioner of the NBA on a float in the gay pride parade dancing in cargo shorts and a rainbow flag, looking ridiculous. However, you know, in service of this message, right? So, like, I think the conditions are kind of right for a lot more progress in this area. I mean, the question you get, and you probably get is, you know, in 10 years, you know, how many openly gay ball players will there be in the NBA? That's the league I cover, so it's only the one I really know. And you know, I don't know the answer to that, but I do think when you see Dwayne and you see the league in general, and generally to the younger generation of players. I mean, I think that's the other thing. Reggie Bullock's another guy. His trans sister was murdered, and he's been outspoken. He's not a household name, but he is a starting shooting guard for the New York Knicks, which whatever that's worth. And you know, he's out there. So I think it's been really interesting to observe, even as we haven't had a lot of tangible success in terms of, I was hoping there'd be a couple openly gay players in the NBA. You know, I mean, I think the league's making real strides here.
What do you think, though, the reception is to Dwayne Wade? Can you, when Dwayne Wade does this, do you feel like that's met in that world? I understand what you're saying about Adam Silver, but I'm talking about in those locker rooms. Do you think he is being met with something that feels like support?
I think outwardly, and I think there's a back channel. I had a really interesting conversation with an NBA All-Star after Jason Collins came out, and we were talking about the response among top-flight NBA players who were very supportive of him on Twitter, for instance, and in social media. And you know, this NBA All-Star kind of rolled his eyes, and I said, "Well, what do you mean?" He's like, "You know, it's unfortunate." He's like, "You know, yeah, everybody sounds good on Twitter. I'm at Team USA practice 2 months later, and it's still the same sort of talk you'd see." So I'm with you. Like, I think there's a back channel. I think there are a community of NBA players who, you know, frankly, grow up, and they don't grow up in the HR. You know, they're not going to freshman orientation at Oberlin College and getting, you know, and being infused with the ethics of social justice, right? Like, you know, you grow up in an AAU bubble. Like, I can't imagine that on the bus in these two-a-day tournaments, there's a lot of talk about, you know, let's talk about sexual representation and youth these days, right? Like, so but I think that's a start, right? Like, before there's ever sheer acceptance, Dan, there's that moment where you kind of have to be outward, like where it ceases to be okay to speak in certain terms, and you can be private about it or with your friends, but I think that's just sort of the natural evolution. I imagine, and again, I'm not in those locker rooms, that there's some sort of, you know, what is this, you know? But look, the fact that it's not outward, I think means something. But yeah, I'm not stupid. Like, I'm not naive. There's a back channel. There's always a back channel. Kevin
Arnovitz with us on ESPN Radio. What did you make of what the Knicks did with hiring an agent, Leon Rose?
Oh, I was going to go back to the other. All right, that's not nearly as fun to talk about as what happened on First
All right,
Take.
well, then let's do that, and I'll circle back around. So let's talk about what happened on First Take for a brand ambassador.
The brand him. Like, what's the brand? Same classic idiocy, but with new flavor. Like what is this doing? The brand's never been the issue, right? Like, it's not about the brand. This team is going to make $500 million in revenue this year. The brand is doing just fine, thank you. Right? It's the crappy product. Look, I think there's been a nice model here, right? I mean, Bob Myers, Golden State Warriors GM, was an agent. Rob Pelinka, jury's still out, but can't, proof is in the pudding. It's working. An agent. And I think there's this notion that, look, diversity of experience is good. And the notion that because here's what the job is, and you know this. And it's sort of, I think 2011 really hit this in Miami. The job of a general manager is talent management. It is no longer playing fantasy basketball, figuring out the good trade. I mean, look, that stuff's important. You need to have scouts who know who to draft. You need to understand the cap. But you're in the talent management business. That's what you're doing. You are submitting to the whims of your superstars. You are surrounding that superstar with talent that will, not piss him off or at least, conform to what he sees as a proper teammate. And so it's not a surprise to me that now teams, especially in big markets like New York, like Los Angeles, like San Francisco, have talent managers. That's what an agent is. He is a talent manager. Yeah, he negotiates contracts, and that's a very good skill to have, when you're kind of facing down one of your former fellow agents, in a negotiation. But I do think this is being a general manager. You are now in the talent management business. It's not Trader Joe anymore. You're managing talent.
25-2 at home, 9-19 on the road. Can you explain the 76ers, Kevin?
They have a fundamental problem, which is how do we find space in an offensive possession? They brought in Horford, a player I think we all love, but who's a 5, being asked to play the 4. They've got their 3, Tobias Harris is actually a 4. Everybody's downgraded. Josh Richardson's been in now to be a lineup, a player I like, but, not a guy you would say, hey, he's going to space the floor. And why is this important? Because you have a guy in Ben Simmons who's dynamic, amazing. He is a locomotive. And by the way, he can't shoot, which, by the way, needn't not be a huge problem, except for the fact that he needs space to drive. And when you have these big bodies looking like traffic cones in the middle of the floor, it's a problem. So,
but why so good at home? Why 25-2 at home, and then they've got the Knicks record on the road? Like, why that?
You taught me this, Dan, in one of my favorite columns ever, because sometimes basketball is random. Because sometimes it's random. Because there's going to be a couple of teams that, for whatever reason, just the way their wins are distributed, some of them are at home, a disproportionate number are at home. I mean, I don't know. The Philly, it can't be the fans, right? I mean, those people are rabid. I mean, it's like you ever listen to talk radio in Philadelphia? It's like InfoWars, so, and they're booing their star players. So I can't imagine it is they are imbued with this great confidence provided by the Philadelphia fan. But as you once said brilliantly, some of this stuff's random. And I mean, I wish I had a good answer. I have no idea.
Well, those spacing issues like that's I think what's confusing to everyone. The fact that they're 25-2, they don't have those issues at home. They have them on the road.
They don't seem to have them on the road. Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm sorry. Let's go to what LeBron did last night. Stugotz ended up feeling he did the thing, as Stugotz likes to say, and Stugotz ended up feeling bad for Jokic at the end of that game because LeBron erased him.
I think what we're seeing with LeBron here is, and it was a question I asked at the beginning of the season, what does a guy look like when he has a sabbatical? I mean a real sabbatical, like doesn't play a meaningful game for 9 months after never getting a break longer than 4 months, right? Because he's old. I mean, he is by any measure, he is ancient in NBA terms, and yet he is a top 5 player, still top 3 players. I mean, let's just call it what it is. And I mean, I think it speaks to, I was talking with Andre Iguodala, new Miami Heat member, and I mean, he's like, I'm ready. There's this like Swedish intellectual who goes to these TED Talks and says, everybody in America, we should create a society where everybody gets every 7th year off, because it's the only way to really regenerate yourself professionally, no matter what career you're in. And Andre's like on board with this, right? I mean, he's completely on board. And I think with LeBron, we're seeing the answer to that question, which is, what happens if this guy didn't have to play 100 and some odd games every single year and actually got to regenerate himself? Because this is uncanny. I mean, they're running away with the West on a team where LeBron historically is a coast the back half of the season kind of guy. LeBron's teams haven't been good regular season teams in years, and yet here we are. and it's astounding.
Kevin Arnovitz with us. We're going to let him go on this real quick because we're out of time. Just give me the number of teams that can beat Milwaukee in a 7-game series. Tell me who they are.
Clippers, Lakers, and nobody else.
Oh, the shipping container.
Man.
The shipping container is hurt. They wanted Miami as one of the answers.
One at Milwaukee without Jimmy Butler.
Oh, shut up.
Without Jimmy Butler.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks.
Pay that man his money.
I'm going to talk to him off air, see if
You
I
should.
can change his mind.
Yep.
Advance Auto Parts people, they are supporting us very strongly, and we ask you to support the people who support us because they're also very good at what they do, which is handling any problem your car has. Tell them, Stugotz.
Yep, I love stats. I get goosebumps just thinking about QBRs and true shooting percentages.
Not true.
It is.
It's not true.
It's not true. You're right. True shooting percentage is not true. QBR, I won't say goosebumps, but they do excite me. Well, one stat you need to know is your car battery's charged. You need to know it. Advance Auto Parts will test your battery for free, and if it's low, they'll install a new one for you with purchase. You can save 20% when you buy online right now by entering the code DAN20. That's DAN20. Then you can get back to pouring over every stat from your favorite sport. Think ahead. Think advance at Advance Auto Parts.
Hey, this is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
You have a mass taker. Give me a mass taker.
We complain about everything. I mean, it's a box of animal crackers. Oh, Peter, please. I mean, find something better to complain about. Better use of your time, please, okay?
That is absolutely the Stugotz cadence. That is Stugotz. That I can feel the hatred underneath the words and how unreasonable he is.
You know your teammate.
We complain about everything. I mean, it's a box of animal crackers. PETA, please. I mean, find something better to complain about. Better use of your time.
He is the father of a baby.
I have a child?
He says tonight is the biggest night of his life. The biggest night of his entire life is what Chris Cotes is claiming here.
I feel like it. I woke up this morning, and the first thought was, oh, my gosh, I'm opening the Cat's Den tonight. Oh, wow. I mean, I just got goosebumps just saying it again. We're having shipping container night tonight at the Florida Panthers game. And one of the things we're doing is at 6:45, 15 minutes before the game, Roy and I are opening the doors to the locker room so they can enter the ice. Roy, are you excited?
I am totally enthralled right now.
Yeah, you seem like it.
Why was Roy chosen for this? So that he could bring his sourpuss? I know he likes hockey, but so he could bring his sourpuss. Are you going to be out there roaring and inciting the crowd to make sure that the Philadelphia Flyers can't believe what's coming out of that locker room?
I am going to be opening a door.
See, the thing is before you open the doors, you have about 5 to 8 seconds of just screen time where it's you, and I'm going to play it to the audience.
But what's Roy going to do? Just stand there and look sour?
He's going to improv. He's going to play off me. I'm thinking of two things that I might just go with I'm not breathing, and my face will get really red to try to get like the noise meter thing. That'll be like my face. That's what I might go that way, or I might put Tony in a Philadelphia Flyers jersey, and then he comes onto the screen like, oh, I'm a Flyers fan, and then I stone cold stun him.
Oh, no.
And then I open the door.
No, and then you pin him, and then I come down and I go with the 1, 2, 3.
Oh, see, there you go.
Roy is now not just opening a
Thinking
door
a
in the
little
most
bit, yeah.
boring possible
I
fashion.
mean, people have to think about these things, you know.
Why were you guys chosen as opposed to Billy and Mike? How does this work?
Well,
Why wasn't it everybody?
This was a negotiation, this night, and I was just only doing this night if I could open the Cat's Den.
There's also only 2 doors, so
Yeah.
you let them have it.
And
You
I already
wanna do it,
I already called right door.
Have you heard from your wife yet? I mean, just out of curiosity. I mean,
She doesn't listen.
she does.
This is a safe space for me.
Okay, she'll be getting to you at some point, I promise you.
I'm just there for the free jersey that I'm going to get.
You were always there for the free stuff, Roy.
So we're getting one jersey. Initially, I felt like we were all getting jerseys, and I provided everyone's size. But then they came back with, "Oh, you're bringing everyone you know." So we're just getting one that says shipping container, and we decided let's just give it to Roy.
Nobody loves free stuff the way Roy does. I saw him break out into dance at the mention of a free bar the other day. I saw teeth in his mouth I haven't seen in a long time from the smile on his face.
But in terms of things you can get for free bar is, I mean, it's dance worthy, is it not?
Put it on the poll, Guillermo, at Batard Show. Is open bar worthy of dancing?
Oh, yeah, I did the same old two-step when I found out there was an open bar. I'm very happy.
Tonight, there's going to be an open bar. Are you going to be sober when you open the Cat's Den? Is Stugotz going to show up? Do we know if...
No, and that's fine.
What do you
if he
mean?
does show up.
I
Don't
just
worry,
got a ticket.
Stugotz.
What do you mean?
I sent him tickets, and I sent him a parking pass.
I mean, they're playing the Flyers. Playoff implications.
None of those things confirm your attendance, though. You're just stating facts that we've all stated already.
It's really close to my house.
Billy, at this point, you've lost all faith. Like,
he's not going to. I mean, honestly, I don't expect him. If he goes, he's in such a position now that he doesn't go to anything, that if he shows up, it's like, whoa, Stugotz, thank you so much for coming. It's so nice.
That's how he set it up. He always wins, even when he's a loser. Like, he always ends up winning.
And I'm not even mad. Like, he doesn't come. Like, okay.
I feel like I've been to everything, to be honest with you.
What?
I went to a couple of Mosses. I went to Dan's wedding. I went to his 50th. I'm going tonight. I mean, I try to attend as much as I can. You know?
What about Billy's wedding?
I missed that one.
Chris's wedding.
Yeah, I missed that one too.
Or the last Moss Miami.
What is the name of Roy's wife?
Joyce?
Well, I won't have to worry about that. You going to a face saying her name wrong because you're not going to show up.
That's right. That is where we're all landing on this. We all had to take bets.
Are you attending this
I
evening?
always have to trudge and clean up your stuff janitorially. I always have to do
you don't
that.
have to.
Yeah, you
I
don't
mean,
have
the
to.
guys
It's
would be
such a
fine if
burden,
neither
Dan.
of us
Yeah,
showed.
Just make him look bad.
I'm
big
just
deal.
saying that when support is needed, I'm the one that has to do it from among us two.
I think we're arriving quickly. We're not there yet, but quickly at a point where the kids don't want the parents around. We're an embarrassment to them. I'm telling you. Like, that's why I stay away.
Well, I mean, they're in their 30s, so I'm not sure how much they're liking the idea of kids.
Interesting spin.
I
there.
mean,
I'm bringing my daughter.
I'm bringing my daughter.
That is straight talk brought to you by...
he made you all 12, but in fairness to him, on the latest stupidity, you will find out that Greg Cotes still thinks Chris Cotes is 12. He's learned nothing about his son in the last 20 years. It's staggering to listen to.
It's infuriating. I don't want to give away answers, but we played a newlywed type game where he had to answer questions about me, and it's like he hasn't met me since I was
It's
12.
unbelievable. Hank Azaria hosts this game where Stugotz is having other people do his work for him, and he gets Chris Cotes and Greg Cotes on there, and Greg Cotes hasn't learned a thing about his son since his son was 12 years old.
What was amazing, you're right, Greg has not updated his relationship with his son since he was 12.
He hasn't gotten the new app. Like he hasn't.
He's just an idiot, though, because we are close. We talk all the time. He just doesn't retain
Well, that's
anything.
correct. That is correct. He, as McClatchy files for bankruptcy, he's on a disco cruise.
Should be in a doctor. That is Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Everything for less, only at Walmart.
Pay that man his money.
If the lights have gone out in your cabin, you can replace your cabin lights and just about anything else that needs fixing at Advance Auto Parts. Tell them, Gotts.
Yep, the football season is over. Now your Thursdays, Sundays, and Mondays are dreadfully open until August. Luckily, Advance Auto Parts has something productive you can do to fill the time. Getting your vehicle's battery tested. It's free, and if your battery is low, they'll install your new one for you with purchase. Plus, enter the code DAN20 when you buy online to save 20%. The only shame is how fast you'll get in, out, and back to twiddling your thumbs until football starts up again. Think ahead. Think Advance. Only at Advance Auto Parts.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Helmets that fit.
Is that a baby helmet that Stugotz is wearing right now? Is that a kid's helmet, or is his head misshapen? He's turning red from how tight these things are on his ears. Mike came in here like a NASCAR pit. He came in here and he tried to bolt those things to your head, and now you've got a helmet on. This is a liability issue. He's having trouble breathing. Human resources. This is a problem.
Let's see if I can get through this. The NBA playoffs are on ESPN Radio.
Thought you'd be more subtle than that. I am told that the shipping container has an important update on Florida Panthers night with the shipping container tonight. What is the important update?
Dan and Stu, not only is the shipping container headlined by Roy and Chris opening up the Cat's Den pregame, but I have just received word that the shipping container will be playing sumo hockey during the second intermission.
Wow. Wow.
All right.
Let me know how that goes.
Billy doesn't look in. Why is
Dan,
Billy?
you down for this too,
Why is
or
Billy skeptical?
supporting us?
Billy, I think I should do that with you guys. I
I mean, you're in luck you won't need a costume.
Oh.
Because you're fat.
Oh, man. Oh, no.
I heard it the first time off the mic. Thank you, Chris.
Hammered it home, though.
That would be funny. Let's do it that way, actually. You guys are in the costume, and I'm just out there as myself. I think that's funnier visually.
I'll be in bed. Second intermission, but I'll be supporting you guys from afar.
A tweeter writes in, morning television about sports is so trash. You're telling me my best options are Get Up, awful show, First Take, unbearable, and Undisputed, not the best, definitely not the worst, with no Skip or Shannon like today. And Dan Lebitard, absolutely not. Just give me my MFN highlights.
He's that guy.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you can find them.
Gamma, put it on the poll. Just give me my MFN highlights. Yes or no. Also put on the poll, should Dan do the sumo wrestling thing in costume with the shipping container, or should he just do it as himself?
A redundant skill set at that point.
Morning television. You can have your complaints about it, but is that something that we are now doing in 2020 where people are starved for just their highlights? Is that... And in 20, I know that there's a push at ESPN to go to more highlights or sports centers all over the place.
I mean, I think if you're a sports fan, you could stay up last night. You're probably interested in the Lakers-Nuggets highlights. Sure. Yeah, you can get them on your phone, though.
But I
You
just
can get 'em
feel
anywhere.
like the ESPN News and some of these places, can't you just get highlights anywhere it is that you
It's
want
actually
them?
not that easy. Like, I'm not seeing the same sort of highlights on my phone that I used to see with the Morning Sports Center. And I know there's been a recent sort of transition to more highlight-heavy sports centers, and the ratings actually bear out that it's been a successful move.
And so that's a thing you're telling me that people want. You're telling me that this audience right here, well, not this audience. If you're listening to this, you're not somebody who wants more highlights. But you're telling me that the primary morning audience, because First Take does good numbers, and for what it is, Undisputed does good numbers, these shows do better numbers than the Sports Centers.
I'm not so sure about Undisputed, but I do know Get Up does well, and SportsCenter's been doing well, and First Take obviously dominates its day part.
But Get Up gives you that mix, and I guess First Take to an extent does as well. I mean, it's mostly opinions, but Get Up does a very good job of discussing it while giving you the highlights at the same time.
Get Up is a really good show.
Yeah.
I know that the usual thing, and they probably work some stuff out after the initial launch, but generally in sports, on Twitter, in society, we're all super snarky and want sort of root for things to fail initially and try to find out everything that's wrong with it. That's a damn good show they do in the morning.
Well, it came out of the box in a way that people weren't willing to, they were just not willing to give it a chance. Very often people don't allow things time to find the voice. And so over time they did the corrections, and what has been a critically panned show is now a show that is celebrated. But I'm more interested in the larger conversation. Many years ago, pardon the interruption, sort of changed the entire programming game here and elsewhere, because in a half hour you could get not only all the relevant highlights, but you could also get how to think of them. It's why it's a pioneering, groundbreaking show. It's why it continues to be the highest rated daily show that people have. It replaced Up Close, what used to be a Roy Firestone interview show. People thought it would fail. Tony Kornheiser thought it would fail. Here it is 20 years later as the standard bearer on these things, that you can go get everything you need in 22 minutes here. And I just think that the day is gone where somebody just wants to, ESPN News would have been a bigger success if people were just dying for only highlights.
Right.
Back when ESPN News was just something that every 30 minutes was just another show that showed you again the highlights. Local news is dying all over the place, even though local news is a place where you get your daily highlights in a way you might not even get them nationally. All over sports journalism, you will see these local sports anchors hanging on to the very end of whatever that is over there. I think things move too fast today for you just to get in any one place. Just give me the scores and nothing else. I don't need any entertainment. I don't need any opinion. Just show me the games. I don't feel like that's something that today's sports fan, attacked by stimuli at every turn, can abide.
I think the place where you'll find it, the craving for it, is in the mornings after you have gone to sleep and you don't have the constant, pushing your phone.
But you'll get what you need on Get Up. They'll give you. There's not anything big that's going to happen that they're not going to cover.
What I'm telling you is Get Up does a fantastic job of not only discussing the game, but giving you the highlights as they're discussing it.
What I'm saying is we all need the content, so anything that happened last night, we're all going to use in the morning.
It's a bit different from this standpoint. ESPN SportsCenter ESPN News is showing you the highlights with a couple of SportsCenter anchors. This is a round table of people showing you the highlights and giving you their opinions on topics and things that happen in that particular game.
Plus, it's got Culture Wednesday, which is a staple of our football programming. Honestly, for highlights, I see them as they happen on my Twitter feed now. I know who to follow.
But that's what I thought. I thought at this point, the thing that you're doing is you're watching Get Up while on your phone. You can call up whatever the hell you want to whenever you need it, because you've got an all-you-can-eat buffet menu in front of you on your phone where you're making your own daily newspaper. I just thought that we'd moved long past the idea that it was enough to just show you what happened last night.
Jason Fitch just texted me. Now, he does a lot of work on social media and does the College Game Day on Twitter and all that stuff. So he has the numbers. And
Jason Fitz, the host of First Take, Your Take?
Yes. Well, no, but this is interesting because Dan and I have no idea how the kids are consuming these days. 2.5 million kids a day watch SportsCenter on Snapchat, and the metrics show they only want highlights. That's insane.
Okay, and that's on Snapchat. It's not on your television. They're getting it when they want
Let's
it.
go.
Right,
My private jet isn't going to fuel itself.
But they just want highlights.
Valentine's Day is tomorrow. Tomorrow. What is wrong with you people? Why have you not done anything yet? I'm going to go to your house and slap you in the face with money.
Really? It was 2 wrenches yesterday.
1-800-Flowers. It's more insulting as just cash.
Right now, 1-800-Flowers has amazing offers on beautiful Valentine's bouquets and arrangements. They do. And Dan is right. You have a day, guys. One day. Do it today. There's still time to have your bouquet delivered to for Valentine's, but you got to get moving. Get moving right now. With an amazing selection of sweets, treats, and bouquets, 1-800-Flowers has everything you need for Valentine's. And you'll never guess how great of a last-minute deal you scored. This is your last chance to lock in these Valentine's offers, so order today. Only good while supplies last. When it comes to impressing her on Valentine's, trust in the Rose Authority. 1-800-Flowers.com to order beautiful and vibrant Valentine bouquets. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, enter code Dan. That's 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, enter code Dan. Valentine's Day is tomorrow, so order today and save at 1-800-Flowers.com. Code Dan.
Stay tuned. More Dan and Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Who are you?
Who are you? You okay?
Oh,
you okay?
That's my boy. You good?
Are you okay?
You good? You got rid of that
I was
cough?
gonna say you guys are gonna get it pretty.
Are you okay?
You good?
Yes.
You good?
It's John Lovitz, by the way, if you hadn't figured it out. Of Michael Strahan as he has taken all the jobs that were supposed to go to Tiki Barber. And Stugotz, for some reason, over the last week, Stugotz has been obsessed with saying that Michael Strahan should give back his sack record. That Michael Strahan, who you'll find him at the Oscars, you'll find him on multiple programs that are as big as any programs you will find, the Fox show, you will find him. Which one is it? Is it Good Morning America? Which one of the morning shows is he
GMA.
on? Yeah.
Yep,
and
he's everywhere.
Part of the Disney family.
He is, I mean, he's a monster talent who is very likable. This allows us to go and get the audio of Stugotz and Michael Strahan arguing when Michael Strahan, back before he got all these jobs, during a Super Bowl Radio Row, when Stugotz was left to his own devices here to interview Michael Strahan, and he was a dog with a bone. He would not let go of the question, and the back and forth with Michael Strahan was not very morning show friendly. It wasn't likable guy friendly. You couldn't have seen from here that Michael Strahan was going to parlay it into every good media job.
Mike, you're in the news a lot lately because of your divorce. It's a ridiculous amount of money.
I was told I'm talking about a Pepsi smash in football. Just like I don't talk to the papers about that.
I was just going to ask if you're tired of talking about it. I guess the answer is yes.
I don't talk about it. And you're going to try to come out of left field and kind of get me with it. But I'm from New York, my friends, and I'm going to shut you up before we even go there.
Just was going to ask if you're sick of it. Apparently you are.
Don't go. I was going to ask. It doesn't matter what you were going to ask me. I'm telling you what we're going to talk about.
He's from Houston.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo, at Lebitard Show. Quote, unquote, I'm from New York, my friend. Jackass or no jackass. I'm from New York, my friends. What does that mean?
I've seen it all. I've heard it all.
Yeah,
you're not going to get
trick
one past me.
With your media tricks.
Yes.
You tricks, sir. I'm from New York, my friend.
So why do you think he needs to give back the sack record?
Because he has everything, and Mark Gastineau doesn't have much. All he has is that sack record. I mean, Mark Gastineau does not have much at this stage in his life. And what Mark Gastineau wants back, rightfully so, by the way, is the sack record. Now, Strahan has it with 22.5 because Brett Favre gifted him one at the end of the season. And, of course, Mark Gastineau.
No one's ever admitted that, right? That's never been admitted by anybody, has it? Like, I know people assume it. Everyone assumes it, but
I think there's a wink and a smile when you ask Favre about it, you ask Strahan
but
about
there's
it.
no proof, correct? There's nobody.
I mean, other than watching the play, other than watching the actual play itself, there is no proof.
The
No one
film
has ever
is
come out and said.
pretty damning,
Right.
Dan.
Yes. And so Strahan has everything, as you pointed out. He has Tiki Barber's life. I mean, that's.
did.
I mean, I'm not asking him to give that back to Tiki. What I am asking is that he gives the sack record back to Mark Gastineau. Because Strahan, you have everything, and Gastineau has nothing. And this is something that will make him late in life very, very happy, and he earned it. No one gifted Gastineau a sack, okay? Strahan, you were gifted that final sack. You have everything. You have all the television jobs.
Okay,
you have the Super Bowl ring.
Okay,
but this
we've
is
got
not
it.
his
Give
call.
this back to Gastineau.
You think it's just hanging up in a closet somewhere, and he can just this is not a tangible thing. He can't give it to him himself.
Come out and say it. You know what? Brett Favre gifted me the single-season sack record. It really belongs to Mark Gastineau. Come out and say it, and give it back to Gastineau.
Like you would, right?
Nope.
Stugotz loves telling other people how to live their lives in a fashion that he would never live his own life.
Do I have everything that Strahan has, including Tiki Barber's life?
Have you ever given anything back? Like, you don't give anything back. Once it's in your pocket, stolen or earned, it never comes back our way. It's something that you keep forever. I just love the idea that you have Michael Strahan going into like a storage room and coming out and going to Mark Gastineau's house and giving him the sack record back. First of all, was it half a sack? Was it a difference? Or would you just be merely giving Mark Gastineau a tie with the sack record?
No, you give the whole sack back. You're at 21 and a half.
Okay, I understand, but what I'm asking you is, was Gastineau at 21?
He was at 22.
Okay, so it was half a sack was the difference between them?
Yes.
A gifted sack from Brett Favre?
Yep. All right, listen, I'll do the quick math for you. If he gives the sack back, it's 21 and a half. Gastineau has a half sack more.
Thank you. I appreciate you doing the quick math for me. Stugotz. Appreciate it. We've got Guillermo is going to give us, should I tease this? Like, it's just the suffering for the rest of us.
What are we doing next?
We're going to do the music dome next.
We are.
That was great.
Unpleasant.
Man.
This is the Dan Lebatard Show on ESPN Radio.
The Sports Center on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
Put it on the poll for us, Chris, please. Would you have thought that lying flat on your back was the best way to survive a falling elevator? The elevator, of course, invented by Jack Elevator. Time now for Billy Gills. Billy Gills, really, what are you doing? You just spit up water all over yourself?
I mean, you told a great joke at the worst time, man. I just slugged the water.
You've got water.
Jack Elevator.
Told you it was a winner. Told you, man.
I spit it all over myself.
You did. You spit water all over your beard, shirt, floor.
Jackie E.
A legitimate spit take. Our first ever, I think. Time now for Billy Gills. Not worth it, really. Not worth it. Time now for Billy Gills' Music Dome.
Are we done with the silliness, guys?
Sorry.
Ready
Yes.
to get started?
Sorry. Improper
Serious
respect.
business. All right, guys, let's just get right to it. Follow me to the Music Dome. Okay, guys. Big week. It was the Group A championship. And you know what that means, Dan? Tell them.
It was the Group A championship.
That's right, Dan. 4 contestants, 3 move on to the Super 9. All right, Dan. And again, once again, we had a special guest judge. Any guesses as to who the special guest judge was?
Tommy Davidson.
No.
Joel McHale.
No. Stugotz?
No guesses.
Dan?
Daniel Tosh.
Ooh, what a good guess, Dan, but wrong. Roy?
Lala Anthony.
No, it was Leah Remini.
I was close.
Yeah, almost there.
What I would have said.
All right, there she is, Leah Remini, right there. All right, so since there was only 4 people competing, obviously they had more time to fill, so they started things off with a medley of Rock and Roll All Night by Dan?
Oh, will you knock it off, please?
Kiss,
Like,
that's
do you have
right,
any of your own
Kiss.
content, or is it just coming back to me every time?
What's that?
Stop asking me to guess things and just go!
What's a guessing show, Dan?
Let's go around the room.
It's not a guessing show.
Stugotz? Who sings Rock and Roll All Night? Kiss.
Michael McDonald.
No.
Oh.
I mean, what are you doing?
In
All right.
sync.
So, it was a group medley, and of course, it was Miss Monster, Kangaroo, Turtle, and White Tiger. Interesting note, the only person who didn't appear to have a solo in this was White Tiger. Keep that in the noggin, guys. Remember that. Who's White Tiger? Do we all remember? I'm not gonna ask you, Dan.
Gronk. It's Gronk. It's Gronk.
It's Gronk, exactly. We don't even need to waste time with that. All right, so the first performance of the night was the Turtle. Now, this week we had a little twist where we had a friend or family member kind of give little clues about them. And also, we had a Valentine spin at the end where they all gave Valentines to the judges. All right, the Turtle performed There's Nothing Holding Me Back by Shawn Mendes. And the friend or family member was their high school 9th grade biology teacher, Miss S. What did Miss S have to say? Different things about soul, time of your life, stuff like that. We'll just get to the guesses. Jenny thought that it could be Nick Lachey. Leah thought that it could be Jaden Smith. Nicole thought that it could be Hunter Hayes. Guys, any guesses?
How many more of these are there?
Mike, that's Dan's shtick. Roy, any guesses?
He asked me.
I just asked him. I just asked him how many. I just asked him in the talkback, how many are we doing of these? 9? Is it 9? Can you stop asking us questions and just keep it
I
moving?
think it's Chris Kirkpatrick.
Guys, it's only 4 this week, and they make their way to the Super 9. All right. Next performance was by Miss Monster, who performed You Don't Own Me by Leslie Gore. All right, here are some of the clues. It was a hairstylist, by the way, giving clues in case you were wondering, because remember, friends, families giving clues this week.
This one's easy.
Really? Who do you think it is?
Yeah, I guessed last week that it's Queen Latifah. Now a hairdresser. She starred in a barbershop sequel, did she not?
Wait, hold on a second, Mike. Here are some of the clues. White Sox, pizza, a teddy bear, a little Chicago tie-in possibly, and what play did Queen Latifah do?
Chicago.
Ooh, Mike, you're hot on the trail here.
Nice.
All right, here were some of the guesses. Mary Wilson by Leah Remini. Jenny thought that it could be Queen Latifah. And then Nicole and Robin thought that it could be Gloria Gaynor. You guys think it's Gloria Gaynor?
No.
Maybe.
She's not going to get eliminated, is she?
One of the better performances of the night, if I'm going to be honest with you, if you're asking me. Let's just move on to the third performance of the night, the Kangaroo. Now, the Kangaroo has everyone confused. No one knows who the Kangaroo could be. Kangaroo performed Diamonds by Rihanna. What a song. I'm a big Rihanna fan. Kangaroo's clues were given by her brother, who was like a plant or something. Not a kangaroo, which is weird, but we don't need to get into that. Some of the clues were a model plane, then there was tragedy, and there was an angel. Here were the guesses. Ken, for the first guess of the night, thought that it was Rosie Huntington Wiley. Nicole thought it was Lindsay Lohan, and Jenny thought that it was Jordan Sparks. All right, let's move on now to the main event, the White Tiger. The White Tiger is Gronk, of course, we all know that. And Gronk sang We Will Rock You because, of course, that's what Gronk was saying, We Will Rock You. It was horrible. One of the worst performances in the history of the show. I don't think they're even really letting Gronk sing at this point, but he's still going out there and just dancing. And everyone's like, oh my God, Gronk is so funny. He's such a good dancer. So they parade everybody back onto the stage when we all know the inevitable thing. Gronk's just going to get eliminated. So everybody back on the stage. And who was eliminated? Any guesses, guys?
Has to be Gronk.
Yeah,
Turtle,
Gronk, yeah.
Miss Monster, Kangaroo, or Gronk, a.k.a. White Tiger?
Gronk.
The Tiger.
Has to be.
No!
What?
Huge controversy this week. Miss Monster was eliminated.
What?
Wow.
One of the better performances of the night, if not the season, got eliminated. And it was, any final guesses as to who this was, guys?
Why is there a string in your face
have a
that
pulley
can't be
system?
taken out of there?
What do you mean?
You just ran into a
No, we're fine. Don't worry about that. Any final guesses as to who Miss Monster was?
Queen Latifah.
Eve.
All right, here were the final guesses by the group. Shaka Khan by Nicole. Shaka Khan by Robin, because in the commercial break, they were starting to piece things together. Like, you know what? Miss Monster said that she performed with Robin. Maybe it's Shaka Khan because she performed with Robin. Ken thought it could be Reba McEntire. Jenny thought again Queen Latifah, and Leah thought that it was Mary Wilson. Guys, are you going to stick with your guesses?
Queen Latifah's the guess.
Latifah.
That is very clearly a pulley system.
All right, it was. Who was it, guys? Lorenzo, you got to put. It was Shaka Khan,
Wow.
who famously
Shocking
performed with Robin at an NHL award show years ago. There they are performing together.
But the clues all pointed to Queen Latifah.
They really
I know.
did.
I
They
know.
really did.
Guys, quickly, before we go, as I mentioned, the final three now move on to the final nine, to the Super 9. So let's bring up our scoreboard here.
Oh, God.
All right,
That's why
here's
the
the
string
scoreboard.
Pulley
was
system,
A
there it is.
useless pulley system.
There it is,
for
the
a useless
scoreboard. So we
scoreboard.
need to move over. Thank you, people.
Oh,
We need
people.
to move. Oh, no, Miss Monster was eliminated.
The height
Don't
of
move.
professionalism
The
here.
kangaroo.
Totally clean.
And then we need to move up the turtle.
Yes, it's
And then we have to
important
move in
scoreboard.
White Tiger again.
Okay.
Very controversial White Tiger,
yes,
but the
thank
White
you.
Tiger's in here.
Okay.
Super 9. And guess
right.
what, guys? Good news. Next week, moving on to Group B. That's going to do
All
it from
right,
this
thank
week in the
you.
Music
All
Dome.
right.
Guys,
All
we'll
right.
see you next week.
All right, Billy. Make
right.
sure that on your walk back here, you take a detour and go straight to hell.
Oh, no!
Wow, and say hi to Harp Riles.
Look, I don't dance now. I make money moves.
Install Blink cameras in and around your home so you can better protect your family today. Tell them, God.
Where do you need a Blink security camera? On your porch to help protect deliveries? Helping keep your family safe when you travel. Sounds like a good idea. How about alerting you when the kids get home from school? That's a must. Blink cameras are motion activated. When they detect something, they send an alert and a video clip to your Blink smartphone app, and the Blink XT2 features two-way talk. System start at just $79.99. So, where do you need Blink cameras? Visit blinkprotect.com/Dan. That's blinkprotect.com/Dan.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
I went into the lab. I wrote a song. I said, oh, the voice of an angel. She can sing this song for us. And I think it accomplished everything you wanted it to.
All right, let's see. We'll all find out together.
Time to talk basketball. Amigos basketball. He'll teach you basketball. Expert in basketball.
2 minutes, get out of here.
If you missed any of the show, you can listen to all 3 hours of the Dan Le Batard Show, plus our Miami Only Hour and our Best of Podcast on Demand in the ESPN app. And subscribe to the Le Batard and Friends Podcast Network featuring South Beach Sessions, Stupidity, and Mystery Crate. Please rate and subscribe. New episodes are posted every week wherever you get your podcasts.
The latest one for Stugotz has Hank Azaria as a game show host. It features Chris Cotes and Greg Cotes, and you will be alarmed at how little Greg Cotes has bothered to learn about his son in old age because of just a profound narcissism and laziness.
My favorite parts of this podcast, just quickly, is how much Chris enjoyed being part of a project that was hosted by Hank Azaria because he texted and called me right after.
I mean, it's absurd that guy has anything to do. That guy is one of the most talented people across this generation.
He's doing Simpsons voices. It's just, he's fantastic.
And I love how mad Chris was getting at Greg. We were all getting mad at Greg because he sounded horrible. My only regret is the young Eric Roberts impression that Hank Azaria does is the most random thing ever, but also the greatest thing ever, and I wanted him to host the entire show.
Yeah, of course you did. Of course you would. You'll do that next time. You'll just have Hank's multiple characters do his job, do your job for you.
I know we make many asks of the listeners, and look, we put out 5 hours of content a day on this show, but make sure to check out that episode of Stupidity, especially if you're a fan of this show, because it's really funny, and that's a unique hack, and Stugotz works hard on it.
It is the one place where he works hard. It is the one place. Happy 73rd birthday to Mike Krzyzewski.
Happy birthday to him. I don't care. Good luck.
And not a single gray hair.
You look great, Coach K.
Thank you, Stugotz. Appreciate it. So, Colin Kaepernick. I was surprised to read this, although I shouldn't have been. He's granted an interview. He has talked to USA Today. He hasn't given an interview in years. It's a bit unusual in the modern climate for a guy to be at the center of everything that he's been at the center of and stay quiet the entire time. It turns out the reason he's doing that is because he's writing a book. He wants complete control over his story, and he will give all the comments that have value when you're willing to purchase them. So he has gone and started a publishing company, and he is going to have a multi-project deal with Audible. It's a subsidiary of Amazon to release an audio version of the book. He's going to amplify the voices of other authors and creators. Again, he started a publishing company, and he wants to create opportunities for black and brown writers. And the reason he says he's doing this now is because, quote, I realize being able to control your narrative and tell your story the way you want to is very important. The manipulation, the colonization, the distortion of stories, narrative, history has been done forever. This is a way for me to be able to counteract that and begin to decolonize that and centralize the narrative of not only myself, but other black and brown writers and authors. It's a smart way to do it, actually.
Write it and let it sit. That's it. Here's what happened.
And here is my viewpoint on everything. You will not have heard it anywhere else. He's basically giving this interview just to tell everybody that he's writing a book, and then he can go and do whatever he wants on the book tour. But I've got to assume that he's not going to let the book speak for itself. I've got to assume that he's going to be out there selling it.
You would think, yes.
I mean, if he's starting a publishing company, my guess is he's going to start doing interviews. And
I mean, he's sort of doing an interview now to sort of help promote that publishing company.
So one would have to assume, and it's smart. It is a smart thing for him to do. If they're going to give me martyrdom, I'm going to go ahead and cash in on it with Amazon, with Nike. I'm going to try and make my money back that they're, like history is
going to. The NFL won't let me cash
history is going to look back on this very poorly whenever the 30 for 30s start, and that in our midst, in what is supposed to be a progressive and enlightened time, that someone would be blackballed for, a stance, whatever it is that your politics are, however it is that you want to say that this is a desecration of the flag. There is in our midst someone doing something akin to the stuff Ali did as James Harden and LeBron James sat out the China stuff. There's actually a guy out here whose career has been cost from taking a stance. It's happened in our lifetime, and history is going to look back on this and be like, man, we let that happen. Everybody conspired to let that happen when it's just stupid. Like, it's intergalactically stupid, all of it, that it has arrived in a place where years were taken off the prime. And I know a bunch of people are just going to write in now. What are you saying? He was no good at the end. Whatever. You could wrap your lies in whatever you want to wrap them in. If you want to wrap them in the flag, you can do that too. The fact that this guy was blackballed in our midst during our time, during this time, as you see what's happening in this country, people fighting over race and gender and everything else, the fact that this happened to a quarterback during our time, anyone that was on the side of letting that happen will be on the wrong side of history on this one. And I don't know what the book is going to say from Colin Kaepernick. I'm assuming it's going to have all sorts of things in there that we haven't heard, Stugotz, because literally this guy vanished from public view when it came to giving you his thoughts as this happened on our watch.
I look forward to you telling me about the things in that book, but yes, you would guess, and I would imagine that there are going to be things that you have never heard before, that Colin Kaepernick experienced, that he heard, that he went through, that he has kept quiet on, that he will...
It's smart. It's really smart to put it in one place, and you can't get it anywhere else, and he's going to take all of the money for it, and of course Amazon. You saw Bezos just bought the most expensive house in the history of California and Los Angeles, right? He just bought the most expensive house. Now Amazon, which has money to just spill over the bar, has won whatever the bidding war was for this book, because I've got to imagine this is a very easy seller when you've got a guy who hasn't told his story anywhere. Like that, to me, he has just done something. I don't know who his advisors were on this, but he has done something very smart, because he's going to feed the content machine. Whenever this book comes out, I got to assume somebody's going to get a hold of excerpts and stuff, no? Like somebody, and it'll only help the sales of the book. Like this is going to be, one would assume, right, for whatever it is that happened to the NFL with its attendance, the NFL's all the way back, one would assume that Colin Kaepernick will be making a whole lot of money on this book. I would assume that this book will get the kind of, am I an idiot for saying like half the money that one of those presidential memoirs gets?
I think this is one of the key stories in our lifetime, because for a person that doesn't really do a lot of media, we still talk about him.
But
He
it's
still
so valuable that
dominates
he hasn't done any
We
of the
don't
media.
know anything. That's why.
I mean, we can't go a week without mentioning his name since he started kneeling, and he does zero media. So I imagine that's going to be a huge, huge money-making
I
enterprise.
wonder how hard it is. I know Stugotz is governed by money. I wonder how hard it's been for him to be silent at every turn.
Just say that as a matter of fact with zero rebuttal from Stugotz.
I mean, there was only going to be.
There was casually, like, on its surface, a very mean thing to say, met with zero resistance.
Isn't it a fact?
He yawned. I mean.
He didn't have to make a sound for confirmation. We already know what it is. But to be smart enough to realize that your silence, no matter how much it hurts at the moment, is going to have a cash register at the end of it, because your silence is going to help sell this book.
I would have spilled the beans so long ago.
I know.
Look, I don't dance now. I make money moves.
I mean, that requires vision. That requires me not talking. That requires not my strengths.
Well, Stugotz just noticed that Mike Francesa won't stop tweeting and stuff, and Stugotz said, this is going to happen to me when I lose all the jobs. This is going to happen to me. I'm just going to be tweeting in every direction my take that LeBron did the thing last night.
He's tweeting in February that Kansas is going to be a tough out.
Tweeting in February. Advance Auto Parts, people. Plenty of parts, fluids, other things at Advance Auto Parts that will help further the life of your car. Drive over there, see what you need, tell them got.
I love stats. I get goosebumps just thinking about QBRs and true shooting percentages.
Not true. We need to change that copy.
Rings. But one stat you need to know, besides rings, is your car's battery's charge. Advance Auto Parts will test your battery for free, and if it's low, they'll install a new one for you with purchase, and you can save 20% when you buy online by entering the code DAN20. Then you can get back to going over and poring over every stat from your favorite sport. Think ahead, think advance, only at Advance Auto Parts.
This is the Dan Lebatard Show on ESPN Radio.
Are you? Close your eyes and feel something, or open your eyes and dance. Chris, you are the oaf poet. Oaf poetry.
That sounds like a band that Mike would listen to.
It is. Seen them 3 times. I like their older stuff.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. All guests on the Dan Lebatard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Here's your SportsCenter update. Tokyo Olympic organizers reiterated their message to the International Olympic Committee that the 2020 Games will not be affected by the coronavirus that is spreading from neighboring China. Jameis Winston underwent LASIK surgery. And finally, crocodiles can go through 8,000 teeth in their lifetime. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
I want to talk about HBO's new show, The Outsider. It is great, and I've told you before that Jason Bateman is attaching his name to some interesting projects. Like, he is the executive producer on Kidding, with Jim Carrey on Showtime, and it's a work of art. That show is a work of art, and The Outsider is really good in that I've been sucked into the first 5 or 6 episodes here, and I still don't know really what's going on, but the way they create tension and mood and stuff, it's a bit of a horror movie, a supernatural horror movie that will keep your attention. It just gets its claws in you, and it doesn't let go.
There's so much out there to watch. This show is so good, so fantastic. And I saw Mike tweet about it this morning, and he's right. There are very few shows, if any, where you feel the need to catch up as quickly as possible, or you want to catch up as quickly as possible because it airs Sunday night on HBO, and I caught up quickly. Like, I caught up in like 2 days because
Congratulations. It's 6 episodes.
Dan, that's a lot for me to sit
Man,
down
you
and
got
watch
2
6
kids.
episodes over 2. I got 2 kids. I mean,
Cross
and
mitzvahs left and right.
ADHD. I
The
mean, a lot of
Nuggets,
stuff going on.
Lakers.
Well, I wanted to get to that, but the thing that is going to keep me from getting to that is the rare Roy smile that is usually only lured out by Kevin Gilbride and names like that. Roy, just what swept over his face can only be described as joy because he saw on the television screen the video from 1994, for reasons I don't really understand, of John Chaney attacking John Calipari during a press conference.
It's the 26th anniversary.
Is that the reason?
Yes.
Happy
All right, well, we should
anniversary.
celebrate it. Mike, is that possibly sound that we need, that we can get instantaneously?
This was a press conference.
Okay, so we're allowed to use this sound. So here it is on the 26th anniversary of a really delightful day. I want you to imagine a very young-looking John Calipari, who I think must have been the coach of UMass at the time. Was he the UMass coach at the
This
time?
was a classic
And-
A-10
and
rivalry.
John Calipari, who looks like the Temple Owl mascot, who at the time, he would have been 70 then, right?
John Chaney? Yeah.
John Chaney, excuse
Yes.
me. Wouldn't you? He would have been about 70 then. So John Chaney's, is John Chaney damn near 90 now? Here's John Chaney, a rabid, ravenous John Chaney. I'd love to know the details 26 years later.
He's 88.
88 years old, of what it is that made John Chaney this insane with John Calipari.
I just got my ass blasted for giving them hell down in West Virginia. And here you get a hell of a job right here today. Good job. 3 class guys. And you pick them out here and single them out. You can't get that together near the threaten the guy. Shut up, goddammit. You're near the threaten the guy. You remember that. When I see you, I'm going to kick your ass. Kick your ass. Come on. You got a good team, and you don't need that edge. That's why I was telling my kid to knock your kid in the mouth. Standing there pushing him the game.
He's 82 years old.
Oh, 82, okay.
Yeah,
Who said he was 88?
For whatever reason, that sound doesn't have John Chaney in the background saying, "I'll kill you, which was amazing. Growing up watching Pepe Sanchez's Temple Owls.
Do I owe money here?
I mean, I don't know why you made him 88.
Because Wikipedia says he's 88.
All right, so we've got dueling facts here. Roy says he's 82.
I'm sorry, he's 88. 88.
Okay. Wow. Well, I'm sorry, Roy. That's $2, my friend.
I don't have any money.
Well, all right. That's $3 then.
No, that's a fine. That's a fine for him, not me.
$3 for Roy, because for not listening and then giving you bad information. Like that should be a bigger. In fact, go sit in the penalty box. Get out of here.
What? Which one? You're looking at him?
You.
Yeah, you should have looked at me when you
I
said
was
that.
confused.
He was looking at
No,
me.
you go sit in the penalty box. I'm just disgusted with you. I can't even look at you.
But this segment was my idea.
It was your joy on your face that you then ruined by making John Chaney factually inaccurate age while not listening to Stugotz.
But there's no joy in my face.
Get out of here. You and your joy, get out of here.
Pepe Sanchez.
What a glorious time that was, Chaney and Calipari.
It is, right? Put it on the poll, Guillermo, at Lebitard Show. Will it bring you joy every time you see the video of John Chaney looking to attack a very young-looking, a very fresh-faced John Calipari? Anyway, getting back to The Outsider. The back row hasn't gotten in yet to The Outsider on HBO?
I have not.
And Billy's too busy watching The Masked Singer.
Stephen King adaptations are notoriously difficult when it comes to doing them right on film or television, and this is one of the better adaptations. I've ever seen. It's not at all corny. It's got an incredible cast, and each episode keeps you, as you mentioned, they do such a great job of building tension. You're on the edge of your seat the entire time. You don't want to miss a single thing.
It's hard to criticize that show. There aren't that many that come along. I know many of you are mad at the Game of Thrones ending, and you're mad at the Sopranos ending, and you're mad at the Seinfeld ending. And maybe this show will botch the ending as well. But it is hard to have something in 2020 that you're putting in front of people and you don't see criticism of it, because the internet at this point exists to just criticize. Like, that's why it's there.
That's its chief responsibility.
As far as I can tell, it's to give you information to look up and just be mean to people.
It takes a special show for you to catch up to and want to watch every week, because you don't want to run the risk of someone ruining it for you. You want that moment for yourself. And The Outsider is certainly one of those
But
shows.
you still don't know what the hell is doing this damage. You still don't know what it is, what it looks like. You see it in the distance, shadowy and scary.
El Cuco?
It is El Cuco. And it sounds ridiculous as we say it. It's just El Cuco. That's all it is.
But it does feel good, Mike, once in a while to have a show that you want to watch at the actual time it airs every single week, because you don't want it ruined.
Well, wait a minute. You got something else going on Sunday nights, don't you?
I do. That doesn't take long.
Look, I don't dance now. I make money moves.
All right, listen to me.
Oh, boy.
If you do not use 1-800-Flowers, I am going to go to your home, stand in your lawn with machetes in one hand and an actual flamethrower in my right hand, where I am
All of this is just for a display.
No.
Dan, you can't.
I'm going with a flamethrower that just throws waves of flame.
Then what are you going to do with a machete?
I'm going to throw them into the house.
He said machetes.
Machetes.
Multiple machetes.
With my left hand while setting fire to your home with a
You'll just have Allison
flamethrower.
do it?
I'm going to throw machetes with my left
This
arm.
is extreme, because you were just slapping people in the face with money
I know, but
before,
I've gotten
right?
angrier about it. Valentine's Day is tomorrow.
Yeah, it's upon us.
If you do not want me to throw machetes at you and your family and char you with a flamethrower, 1-800-Flowers is something you need to dial right now, or go on the internet the way the kids do. See if you can get past all those cruel people criticizing everybody and buy some flowers for somebody. Give some love.
Guys, if you've been tuning me out for the past few weeks, I sincerely hope you listen up now, because Dan's coming to your house with machetes and a flamethrower. I mean, I'd listen. Valentine's Day is here, so handle your needs right now with 1-800-Flowers. You have to order today to make this happen, and do it right with a bouquet guaranteed to impress from 1-800-Flowers. This is your absolute last chance to lock in these Valentine's offers, so order today. Only good while supplies last. To order beautiful and vibrant Valentine's bouquets, go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, enter code Dan. Valentine's Day is tomorrow. Hope you're prepared. If you're not, you better order today, and you better do it from our friends at 1-800-Flowers.com. Use code Dan.
Coming up, more of the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
People are here. You were not missed. I wish that all of you cared one fraction as much about racism as you do complaining about being called racist. Like just one, I wish you poured a fraction of passion into the kind of zealotry that you always emerge with when I give you the news that Colin Kaepernick is writing a book. Like it wasn't gratuitous talking about Colin Kaepernick. There's a book that's going to come out that I imagine is going to be interesting, and I imagine is going to carry some content across these networks for a while, because there haven't been a lot of stories like Colin Kaepernick's, and there certainly hasn't been the kind of silence around those stories as it's been noisy everywhere, but you've never heard from the participant before. But I will just tell you that you can continue to complain about it, and he will continue to stay out of the league, and you will win the victory of keeping him out of the league, and you will forever lose the historic fight on how stupid all of this was, like how remarkably stupid all of it was, that a place like the NFL that can do the Super Bowl right can't get a workout with this guy right. It's breathtaking. Solicits Jay-Z, Roger Goodell. It's the most powerful entity you'll find anywhere in entertainment, responsible for all the TV shows of the week, can't figure out the right way to put this guy in a uniform. It's pretty breathtaking. So I will continue to talk about it because it's one of the most relevant sports stories of my lifetime. And so you can complain about it all you like every time I talk about it, but I'm going to continue talking about it because your sensitivity about these things is amusing to me. Your desire to on top of that, shut everyone up who wants to talk about this because he's been silent. But anyone else who supports what it is that the benign nature of what he did.
It's got to be this and Jordan or LeBron, right?
Man, different players. Different players.
Yeah.
They do different things.
Different era.
Obviously,
Yeah.
honestly, the comp is more Magic Johnson for LeBron James if you want to get into it.
Perhaps, yeah. But he's still -2 in rings plus minus to Magic.
Give it time.
5 for Magic.
Man, are you watching social media? They're coming for the Astros. This apparently did not go well today.
I mean,
No, I didn't.
I was working, so I didn't get to watch it. But if I'm just, I mean, reality isn't your timeline sometimes. But man, this appears to have gone very poorly for the Houston Astros.
Whoever their head of PR is should no longer be the head of PR.
Well, I have a sound of like someone from PR. This is from ESPN's Marley Rivera questioning owner Jim Crane, and not a great answer by the owner of the Houston Astros.
Jim, sign stealing is a distinct advantage for the hitter. So how is it that it doesn't affect competition? So then what are you guys apologizing for?
We're apologizing because we broke the rules.
But isn't sign stealing a distinct advantage for the hitter? So doesn't it automatically impact competition?
It could possibly do that. It could possibly not.
Okay, guys, we're going to wrap up. Thank you, Dusty. Thank you, Jim.
Right there, 2 sentences after you've embarrassed my paycheck. We're going to wrap it up.
There is someone in PR right there. He's doing the lasso sign with his finger, saying this is a wrap. Okay, our owner's rattled right now.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to do those things in front of the cameras, Jim Crane, than it is to just tell Rob Ranford what to put in the statement and make sure that it's up high that you didn't know anything. It's a lot harder to do it in front of the cameras than just bossing around Manfred.
He tried out Dusty Baker.
Unbelievable. 70-year-old Dusty Baker. You're going to drag him out of there. He didn't have anything to do with anything. You're going to drag him out there and make him speak on behalf of everybody. And then make Altuve fight through it in a second language, which is brutal.
It seems like
I'm not feeling bad for Jose Altuve.
Yeah,
I'm just saying you shouldn't put him in front of the people. Like you should.
No, they should. This is the punishment, and them cutting it off is kind of bull.
I'm saying I saw Marley Rivera report exclusively that ESPN had learned that the podium people were going to be Dusty Baker, Jim Crane, Jose Altuve, and Alex Bregman, and I'm just saying that you could take guys up there who have to do their fighting in their first language.
Okay, well, he can talk in his first language. What's stopping him
They broke
from
the
doing that?
rules. They're the face of the Astros. Like, sorry, Jose.
But look at how they
him a
handled it.
sympathetic
Look at how. No, I'm not trying to make him a sympathetic figure. I'm simply pointing out.
Sammy Sosa in
I'm
front of
simply
Congress.
pointing out to you guys that it's hard enough to get in front of those cameras without having to do it in your second language. And if the Astros wanted two people to show contrition, they should have gone to two who were actually contrite, who could articulate it in their first language.
Bregman said it so quickly. You had the feeling, like I listened to it on the radio, he said it and sprinted back to the clubhouse.
They've also had
God.
like a month to come out and say something, and they've all chosen not to. Like, and I don't believe that any of them are sorry. Like, that's just my opinion, but it doesn't seem like they're very contrite to begin with.
I saw a quote from Correa that was
great.
probably the best one that I saw. It's like, we realized that we affected careers because they did. There's like, I'm interested to see what happens with some of these lawsuits. You know, like you don't get many shots when you get called up to the show. And if someone like just totally knows what's coming and lights you up and they don't put you back in and they don't trust you and that's a wrap, like someone has a case.
Yeah, he's objecting to being bullied by Carlos Beltran as a young player. Correa is. He's like, no, we knew what we were doing, and we could have stopped it. We didn't. I mean, you're hearing the guys in the clubhouse, not in that public setting, not in that, that press conference, but in the clubhouse, you're hearing more contrition from the players, I guess.
The show.
I love it, man. I love that show, man.
Oh, man.
The show. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Guy who uses the show, jackass or irredeemable jackass?
Hope you enjoyed the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
World Star.